Greetings, YouTube. I can't think of too many times in the history of Marvel Contest of Champions where Kabam Mike had to, in some ways, backtrack so quickly to a post he had made earlier. Now, I've read a lot of your responses. Some of you think that the bug, quote unquote, is definitely a bug, and it's not a reason to complain, and people should just take it as what Kabam says it is and be fine with it. Now, I do think that perspective kind of overlooks a few things, especially the timing of it all. But I know in the past, as we've talked about many bugs in this game, quote unquote, that there is kind of a strategy behind defending the company that makes the game. I will say that it's a pattern of behavior that continues to be a slippery slope, as we've seen in the past, not just in She-Hulk's case, but Archangel's, etc. But what I think is most apparent about this quote-unquote bug is that Kabam has been pushing the most skilled of players, the players that play the game at the highest levels of Alliance War and Alliance Quest. They've been pushing them to the brink for so long. They've had to find new ways to make money. And so in the process of doing this, they've done things like make the health pools in, say, map 7 of Alliance Quest just crazy huge while still requiring some timer in Alliance Quest. They've also made new nodes so impossible to not lose health in that even if you're fighting perfectly with the best champions, you're still going to face something like, say, degeneration damage. So I want you to keep that in mind because, as my Battle Room bestie likes to say, if you fix the content, you fix the exploit. If you fix the BS nodes, then you give yourself more of a chance to not feel like the only way that you can save yourself is by timing out. Now, here is a pretty simple idea that I feel like is obvious, but at the same time, Kabam has been reluctant to do it. Why is a timeout possible? Well, because it focuses on the first word of that sentence, time. These fights are timed. One thing I loved about doing the Abyss, at least the completion of it, let me be clear, I've only done the quote-unquote easy path so far, was that there wasn't time. Yeah, you had a certain amount of hits before you basically were going to get knocked out, but it wasn't timed. There was just something relaxing about that for me. And in a way, I wasn't as intimidated by the crazy health pool or the rating of the defender because I knew I could do it on my own terms. Now, I haven't done map 6 in years, and I've never done map 7, so I can't speak personally to what it's like, but I trust the people that do it every day, and they've come to me with the main complaints being it's not even so much that they care that this gets taken away as much as they worry about the reason why it matters in the first place. And so when Kabam Mike says, hey guys and gals, right? There are women in this community. I just want to reiterate, we don't want to fix this until players don't have a reason to rely on this method. We know there are reasons that players do it, and we want to address those first. We don't want you to think that your only way to beat something is pausing and sitting still for a few minutes. That's not fun and leads to more frustration. But that's a method that many people think is the only viable option for them right now. We want to change that first so that you don't feel like you need to play this way. So again, let's talk about the best ways to change it because I am all about constructive feedback. A problem is only a problem until there's a solution. And my goal in these videos is not just whine or complain or talk about something. It's to come up with ways to fix it. I do think that even going down to the lower maps, including the map that I run, which I get is not the hardest map difficulty except for the frustration of still crazy passive AI in map 5, and that's that I know from top to bottom, regardless of what tier you're talking about, my experience in the 4+ years I played this game, and I know this is kind of a little bit of a side note to this discussion, but I think it's worth mentioning. If you care about the mental health of your players, if you want them to quote unquote have fun, and still the opposite of that, which is Kabam Mike literally saying that's not fun, when you allow your players to move in 30-minute timers for Alliance Quest instead of 1 hour, it's just such a huge difference in fun and also in flexibility of schedules. And I know that Kabam is reluctant to put that into an actual solution to anything except for when, say, emergency maintenance happens and suddenly people's Alliance Quest timers get put on the back burner and then they have to make it up to people. But the only time I see that happening is when maintenance happens and the game crashes. But they lose the ability to say that your life isn't run as much by the game and by moving in Alliance Quest if those timers are reduced. And that sets up an original goal that Kabam hasn't talked about in years, but they originally said the reason why they were making the arena changes and all this other stuff is that they realized that a lot of people don't have the time to play the game all day. They have actual jobs, families, friends, significant others, the ability to put down an electronic device for an hour. But they got away from that because, quite frankly, I think they want people to be addicted to this game. They make more money off of it. They want people to be addicted to the Marvel Casino of Champions, but it comes at a mental health cost and a burnout cost ultimately. So I want to know from those of you that face these nodes every week in Alliance Quest, especially in Map 6 and Map 7, what are some things that need to be eliminated? How would you change it? And are you for, once those are eliminating, also eliminate the need to be timed out because the fights aren't timed at all? Or do you think there's some middle ground to say, make the timers 10 minutes, for example? Especially when it comes to mini bosses and the main boss. Those, it sounds like, even if you're fighting perfectly, you're not going to get down most of the time, even if you're one of the best fighters, and so many of these people that do this are in the contest. I am all about coming up with solutions. Kabam Mike says he wants solutions to fix this problem. Now he's got to be able to justify that with his actions by leading to what the community talks about both on the forums, on YouTube, and their own content creator program, etc. That will make everybody happy, but until then, it's just empty rhetoric that has to actually be backed up by actions.